We got two more examples. The first one is negative 3 cosine 4x plus 3 pi, and then we add 1 to that. So again, we want to factor out this 4 away from the x. So we have negative 3 cosine, factor out the 4, and you're left with x plus 3 pi fourths, and then plus 1. So we're going to have an amplitude. It's the absolute value of this one, so that's 3. We're going to have a period of 2 pi divided by the number of cycles, which in this case is 4. So our period is pi halves. We have a midline of 1, and we have a phase shift to the left 3 pi fourths. All right, so I've already got the graph labeled here. So we can go ahead and draw in our lines. We have a midline of 1. We have a phase shift of left, so it should be negative 3 pi fourths. So that's 3/4 of pi, about right in here. And then we have a period of half of pi. So half of pi would put us right in here. From the midline, we have an amplitude of 3. So that's up here, it's 4, and down here at negative 2. So our function needs to fit inside of this piece right here. We are graphing the negative cosine function. And we also need to label our starting point and our ending point. So we started at negative 3 pi fourths. And so if we have negative 3 pi fourths and we add the period to that, so pi halves is the same as 2 pi fourths. So we would end at negative pi fourths. All right, graphing in our negative cosine function starts at the amplitude and finishes at the amplitude. Goes all the way to the top and all the way back to the bottom. So your cosine function would look like this. There's a graph of your negative 3 cosine function. All right, here's your last example. We've got 2 cotangent of 1/2 x minus pi 8. So again, we want to factor out the number that's next to the x. So if we factor out a half, we're left with x minus pi fourths. Remember, cotangent doesn't have an amplitude. It's like tangent. The period for tangent and cotangent is pi. So we have pi divided by a number of cycles, which makes our period 2 pi. We have a midline of 0. And we have a phase shift of pi fourths. So we're going to move it to the right, pi fourths. All right, so we put in, here's our midline of 0. And we're shifted to the right, 1/4 of pi. And then we have a period of 2 pi. So now let's write down starting point, which was pi fourths. Period of 2 pi, so pi fourths plus 2 pi fourths. That's 2 pi and 1/4. Or in other words, that's 9 pi fourths. Now we're graphing the cotangent function. Recall that the cotangent function starts at the very top left and curves down to the bottom right. And it will meet right here in the middle. So your cotangent function is going to look like this. And that's how you graph this function.